What's going on, Jerome's? So obviously the Minnesota Vikings got a big-time win Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers, the reigning, defending NFC champions. I realize I just combined the Niners with the San Diego Superchargers song. Don't care. Absolutely do not care at all. Also, it seems like there seems to be a budding bromance between Kevin O'Connell and Slinging Sam Darnold. Like, could this be the start of my first friendship? I don't know. Or is Kevin O'Connell a certified quarterback whisperer? Starting to get those vibes. Certainly are. But since it's Monday and it's a great day to tell the truth, so here are 10 truths about your Minnesota Vikings. Number one, this was the biggest win of the Kevin O'Connell era. Now, again, I fully understand prisoner of the moment. Certainly could be that. Recency bias, yes. But the Colts comeback, the Colts were ass. Thank you. Right? The win was great, but it was a bad team that you should not have given a 33-point lead. Beside the point. Also, the Bills comeback win, fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Last year, not a ton of great wins. But this one was an absolute statement win after you moved on from Kirk Cousins. Actually, last year's Niner win was pretty good. Last year's at Lambeau win was pretty good. But you turn the page on Kirk Cousins. You have Slinging Sam Darnold in your building now. Now he beats his former team, as well as you have the reigning defending Super Bowl participants, like we said, in your building, and you beat them down. Like, consensus, the number one team in the NFC, and you win convincingly. Like, from soup to nuts, the Vikings were the better team on Sunday, and there's really no debating that. Yeah, the Niners made a near-run thing towards the end, but overall, like, the Vikings won in every single facet, and they out-physicaled the Niners, which is really, really hard to do. I get choked up just think about it. Next up, truth number 2. Sam Darnold is America's quarterback. I don't have the graphic, but you know it is. He is America's quarterback. So far through 2 games, completing 72% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Only one was really bad, right? And basically, he's made 2 really bad plays this season. Both of them against the Niners. The interception was bad, as well as when he just randomly threw it backwards. Like that was straight out of the Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins playbook, right? But he has a 111.8 quarterback rating. And yes, the 97-yard touchdown was amazing, but just being nails on that final drive and just, without Jefferson and making some huge third down throws to Powell and Naylor when the game was still in the balance. Like, if the Vikings punted there or there was a turnover, there was a good chance that the Niners could have marched down and scored a touchdown and won the game. All right, the Vikings defense was pretty gassed at that point. But Sam Darnold just said, no, we're getting up by 9 and feeling fine. Next up, number 3, the running back split needs to be legit. So, yes, all the hype of Aaron Jones coming in is certainly there. He's got burst, yes. But you saw, like, the problem with Jones is health. And you saw him get dinged up in the second game against the Niners, right? And I don't know how you avoid that other than this has to be a true rotation. So first half basically it was all Aaron Jones. Right? Then Ty Chandler came in, had a drive on his onesies before the Darnold interception. Actually, that was right before the half, wasn't it? It doesn't matter. But, so Ty Chandler is averaging 5.9 yards per touch this season on 18 carries for 99 yards, as well as 3 catches for 21 yards. So, Chandler can do it. Chandler has huge bursts as well, plus he's developing as a pass protector. So, I do think that they need to kind of save Aaron Jones from himself, as he's already visited the medical tent once, and, yeah, it just wasn't the debut he was envisioning, right? Especially with that fumble at the half-yard line, which was not great either. Next up, number 4, Jalen Naylor needs to remain in the mix. So even after Jordan Addison gets back, like Jalen Speedy Naylor, you saw the speed, right? And 2 touchdown catches, yes, that's amazing. But also that third down grab up the seam, that took balls, man. That took balls and onions and everything like that. So I do think that Jalen Naylor has firmly established himself as wide receiver 3, although Brandon Powell was nice. Well, had a couple nice catches as well. Also, bonus one, this team did not pucker. Team did not pucker. Pucker. There you go. And it's a situation after Aaron Jones fumbled at the half-yard line, the Vikings easily could have been like, oh, here we go. Then the Niners marched 99 yards. And then they made it 20-14. We're going to lose. We're going to lose 21-20. But the offense went down and got 3. The defense did enough, even though they were in prevent defense because you had 2 scores, so it was fine. They didn't. The number one thing was that it wasn't so much yardage, right? Obviously, you want to stop the other team, but it was more about them using the clock and giving them everything underneath, keeping them in bounds. The Niners had no timeouts, kept that clock running. So the defense overall achieved its goal, right? And also held them to a field goal. And then special teams, Will Rockford kicked the field goal, and also Nick Muse recovered the onside kick. So it took all 3 phases at the end where a lot of teams would have been mentally shaken. It's just like they're crying about, oh, what could have been? We should have been up 27-7, but now it's 20-14, and we're going to lose. I feel like the team may have had that attitude at some points last year, given the circumstances, but I love that this team kept fighting and the focus, and they closed out one of the best teams in football. Number 5, the O-line is good, so it's mostly good, right? Brian O'Neill has been an absolute monster. Darisaw has been quite good, except for like 1 snap against Nick Bosa. And also there's been basically, when they're good, but the bad plays, they're atrocious, right? So penalties are an issue. Ed Ingram is an issue. Dalton Reisner, please heal up. As well as Garrett Bradbury. They have to move on from Bradbury. Like, obviously it's not going to be this year, but they got to do something because he's not the answer in the middle, man. Next up, number 6. Could this be the best defense of the last decade? Now, that's high praise because during peak Zimmer era, 2016, 2017, 2018, that defense was number 1, if not, they were top 2 in the league, and they weren't 2. All right, so that's a very high bar, and it's a little bit of pie in the sky talk right now. Now, this is not going to be the 85 Bears shutdown doomsday defense, 2000 Ravens, 2002 Bucks. This ain't going to be that. But if you have a lead, they're going to be fun. They're going to be multiple. They're going to harass your quarterback. 11 sacks through 2 games. And also the Niners are 2 of 10 on 3rd down, 1 of 3 on 4th. And they're going to put you in bad spots. And they're going to force mistakes. And they're going to get a couple turnovers as well. I mean, that defensive performance against one of the best offenses in the National Football League. Don't even care that McCaffrey wasn't there because Jordan Mason still had himself a day. But, I mean, this defense could be a lot of fun. And it is deep, and it is certainly playable. Next up, number 7, Cashman and Pace. So when Cashman and Pace teamed up as the 2 starting off-ball inside linebackers in this defense, you're thinking, it's like, okay, they do complement each other. So Cashman, sort of the nice meat and potatoes, stop the run, green dot, good in coverage type linebacker. Ivan Pace Jr. is the absolute wild card, man. Like he's a better behaved version of Vontaze Burfict. Like he brings an attitude. He plays with a chip. He brings violence. He sets the tone. He does all of that. He can rush the passer. He can run fill. He can cover. He can do all the things, right? And they combined for 21 tackles against the Niners, and they were just flying around making plays. I mean, once Greenlaw gets back for the Niners, I still think that Greenlaw and obviously Fred Warner are the best off-ball duo in the league. But Cashman and Pace are going to be rising up. Cashman and Pace are certainly going to get there. Next up, number 8. Depth is a strong suit of this defense. All right, so you look at Jihad Ward playing all over the place, D-line, edge rusher, etc. Taki Taimani coming in, having 2 tackles as a true blue 300-pound nose tackle. Patrick Jones is second, leading the team of sacks. He's the 4th freaking edge rusher. Depth is the strong suit of this defense. Knocking on all the wood. Now, you can't completely avoid injuries and attrition. It happens, right? But since Flores is rotating so much, especially in the front 7, getting these guys experience, getting them reps, getting them confidence, giving them tape for coaches to break down and build up, it all plays into the Vikings' hands. And since they have so many different players that bring such different styles, they can change what they want to do up front, opponent by opponent, which is amazing. So Team X struggles against odd fronts, so we're going to play odd front. You want an even front against Team Y, you're going to do that, right? 4-3, 3-4, whatever. Lots more NASCAR package. You want to be stout at the middle, you can do that. This front 7 is really fun, man, and absolutely legit. Even though, there's a lot to improve on, which is number 9. And 100 yards rushing to Jordan Mason. It's unfortunate, but was that almost part of the game plan? Right now, I'm not saying that it was, but was that part of the game plan of playing a little bit lighter, playing a little bit more sub package, and basically, especially once the Vikings got a 2-score lead, daring the Niners to just run the ball as opposed to having Brock Purdy throw it. I don't know. Like, is it like a Belichick Giants defense against the K-Gun and the Bills back in the day? Probably not, but but there's a lot to work on. They've had a fumble in both games. Also, pretty bad fumbles too, especially the Aaron Jones one at the 1-yard line. Interception in both games. The Werner one was bad, but the other one was a tip pass. 100 yards rushing against the Niners. Special teams errors, Diamond Dallas Turner, as well as, how does Jay Ward and Asamoah not come up with that fumble on the muff punt? I don't know, but that's a great thing about for coaches. Like, you won, which is great, but you got a lot of tape to chew asses, right? And also, this should make you feel really good about the Vikings. Number one, didn't really have a true home field advantage because it was almost 50-50 split with Crystal Ball in terms of Vikings versus Niners fans. Also, the Vikings did not play a clean game. Like, there was a lot of sloppiness going around, and the Vikings still, wire to wire, basically just worked the Niners. So that should say a lot about this team. Lastly, number 10, the Vikings are a contender. Absolutely legit. Who in the NFC gives you the heebie-jeebies? You just beat the Niners. What about the Eagles? No. Lions? Absolutely not. Anyone in the NFC South? Oddly enough, the Bucks, maybe a little bit. Sure, but that's it. Like, honestly, who in the NFC scares you? Not the Packers, even with Jordan Love. Not the Cowboys. Not the Giants. Yeah. But honestly, who is it? Is it the Rams? No. Is it Seahawks? The Seahawks look kind of decent, but no. No, the Vikings are legit in the NFC. Also, both these games aren't flukes. Right, these aren't just miracle games. You got strength in the trenches. You got playmakers all over the place, as well as special teams all of a sudden ain't kicking you in the nizzles, which we'll talk about. Number 11, will the throw coming? So I understand there were 3 chip shot field goals, but especially that last one, there had some pressure on it, right? And we haven't seen his range yet. His career long so far is 39, but we'll see it. Like, just give Will the Thrill a chance to hit a 59-yarder in a high-leverage spot. I feel like he'll get it. But, like we said, one game at a time. Like, you don't want – I understand as a Vikings fan you don't want to get too excited about things, but the Vikings are tough, physical in both of the trenches. The defense can get after it. And offensively, like, Sam Darnold is just taking what's there. For the most part, you got playmakers all over the place. Oh, by the way, Addison and Reisner and Hawkinson are coming back. Baby, could have a stew going. Absolutely could. But that's it. Your thoughts are our thoughts. 11 truths about the Minnesota Vikings on this beautiful, gorgeous Monday. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But next time, Skol, production value.